Okay, and so now we get our results from our other, I just use frameworks, call them IDKs, information dense keywords. So safe review, and he goes, yeah, 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 I will do a sanity check of all of this and go through, and especially around our robust security, make sure everything's architecturally correct, yada, yada, yada. He just kind of goes, now this is a new model, so I don't know about 5.2. It's got some issues and it's got some good things, but um, but yeah, some things that I'd already looked at and found out myself, and this kind of backs up what I'd already done prior research. So this is a sanity check across the board, and you do want one AI checking another AI, high-end models. This is top of the line. But they have context because they're both inside the IDE. I just have my views set so that I'm only looking at the AI interactions. I'm not watching, you know, my, my files. I'm not inspecting every file over here in the editor. What I'm inspecting is results like I do in my regular work. So I watch the work being made, I watch the tests, and there's flaky stuff. I'm not gonna lie. There's things that are not perfect, but over time, the harness that I built or the framework for the agents that work within allows us to get these kind of outsized results. And everyone agrees on that at this point. Um, I'm just going to copy the message, come back here, and paste it. Okay, and I'm just going to reply back and let him think about that. And he's going to probably say, hey, thanks for the feedback. Um, Excellent architectural review. Let me query and he's going to go and check on it because now they're communicating. And I think quickly the final gap in this feedback loop is going to be that we can decide to have these guys talk to each other. And I could do it on Slack or something, but I'd rather, have them keep a record the way our communications always are, which is through architectural decision records, ADRs, linear issues, research, and spikes that are recorded in Confluence, planning that's done over there, which right now we're not doing planning in Confluence because this is around already decided things. What we'll do is once we're done, we'll go back and update all our permanent documents, APIs, and all that kind of stuff that you would expect. But I'm going to start automating all that technical writing, right? And I can't explain how, I have a full team of agents built into this. I'm just not running them right now. It's based on the orchestrator for the main one deciding, how we're going to use them. And I need to update the skills, like I said, which is going to be a huge upgrade. I think everything's going to work better. I know. So now you see that he's come in and there's a major documentation versus reality discrepancy. And then so we can see that we got a lot of technical debt. And I don't know, we ran out of context window. And that's part of what happened. So now he's going to compact, but I think he's going to be okay because he's been recording all of his work. But all the way down to, we can see, what they're thinking about and how they're going to approach it and, how these policies, where the full documentation, the audit of where the policies are correct, where we're missing RLS, and that's why our payments don't work, our subscriptions don't work, and our websites don't work, because they don't have our RLS policies in place, which means our database is failing. Simple as that. The application probably runs fine, but it's interesting to get to this level and start seeing the work, the way I would work with regular, teams. And here we're gonna get some baked goods, and I'm gonna go back and forth with these guys. And he's like, "Here, I thought about what you said, and I could just copy this and say, here's the reply." He's mostly likely gonna say something. finish this off. And then, but notice, we're following our linear, we have a process. We create linear issues so that we can use the linear issues, create a proper branch, and branch naming conventions are in place along with commit messaging. Everything's atomic commits with standardized everything. Okay, and then here we go. Good catch. They're talking back and forth and really doing deep research that me as a non-engineer, I would just be having a discussion with engineers, just like I'm doing now. Like, hey, let's talk about this. And what do you think? And we got stop the line, which is I give my agents authority to recognize patterns and say, wait, stop the line. We have to stop and talk about this. Is that significant? And that's what they just called it, the flag right there. We have significant stop the line issues. And yeah, don't downgrade docs and mention insecure reality without a decision. So we have policies in place. And so now these guys actually understand those policies better and better. And then we'll just let the conversation continue. So he's gonna update. He's gonna change his plan, and then he's gonna say, I'm still in planning mode. But I'm gonna let it go. And now we got a deep thought out, ready to go plan for how we're gonna tackle this next set of work. And it's gonna be in linear like it should be. Tracks, PRs, PR comments, linear comments, back and forth. And get it all done and tested QAS on dev on a Linux machine by a separate developer, which is the Linux development team. Will check the work done by the PC team and vice versa, like you would in the real world. Okay. And that's how you get better results. So he's really going deep here. I wanted to just show you how it just takes off. Yeah. Big plans can be done at this point as long as you have good frameworks or harnesses. They can just do it on the fly, kind of, if you know how to do it. But these internal plans are not as good as like also documenting and linear, so that now he's got a local copy of what's going on and then one that we have to access via MCP. And so here we are, tables without RLS. What approach should we take now? Because I'm not involved in that loop. Ask. Question. Should we do option A or B? Yes, and I would have said option A as well. Pragmatic safe path, separate backup user, DB user, and non-interactive flags, so migration stop failing. And that's correct, but we need information back that we've got problems. And then RLS enablement tickets for the missing tables, likely group by domain, identity, building system. See, so now we're doing really smart architectural decisions to fix the actual problem. So we're gonna go 3, because we have outside of what I thought. And you're just gonna get a much better plan as you allow, think of this as like meta prompts. You're taking information and going back and forth and creating a bigger plan instead of organized. Because these plans are prompts. And then we've got a clear guidance. Gonna update our plan again. I'm gonna say, be sure to update the linear comments. Just to make sure that all these different architectural decision records are made and capture the record, which linear, as things are getting worked, everyone looks at that. All our evidence and acceptance criteria, everything's there. So evidence of things done and finished and true compared to the acceptance criteria. And so right here, there's our plan. Oh, we got these, ABs, all kinds of craziness with this. Okay, so now that plan's gotten quite expensive. And we're just gonna ask. Fire a little check. All right. And plenty of contacts still left here. Let's see, our guy's looking at our workflow, coding standards, pattern discoveries, team culture, and our agents file. So along with everything else, he's got the important ingredients to understand how to keep the team true. I'm gonna do a quick web against the repo reality baseline file feasibility, final check force proceed with full requirement corrections, one more consistency note. Gotta be with okay, do we really need, yeah, this looks good. Do we really need the same thing more? Or can I say yes and bypass? I can copy and note that this started. And I want concurrence, the same I would in the real world. I want everyone concurring. Yeah. Okay. Oh, he doesn't understand bypass permissions like, that. Okay, it's not, he's confused. It's a hard code thing. See what the team need input to run there. And not that he really needs to know this clarification. Oh, yes. Yeah, okay. We're gonna do that. We're gonna go boom. I got one note. Was that. And that's fine. We're off to the races. And he's gonna update. And then he already fucked up because I missed the first thing. So I'm gonna get him on track. He's gonna be like, oh shit. Yeah, he's always fucked up. Thank you. So you're gonna have to cherry pick all this. Okay, so that's some process stuff that, you gotta learn about AI is that he was fine, he had a great plan. I'm gonna do this, and then I interjected just a little too much and got that plan slightly off, but he'll catch right now. Yeah, and we haven't made commits yet, so it's fine. But we need to be on the right branch, not that. And this is just connected via MCP, but I'm gonna change this to skill sets. It'll still be MCP, but they just write the code for it instead. Anyway, but they're off to the races, and that's how it works overall.